What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Did Discraft just make another Teebird, or is this disc something different entirely? So when I first heard about the Cigarra, I'm thinking this is probably going to be similar to maybe an old Teebird. So that's exactly what we're going to test out today on the channel. I've got an old Teebird. It's got a little bit of dome on it. Should be a pretty flippy to kind of straight flyer. I've got a newer Teebird that's a little flat, and we've got a Cigarra. And by the end of this video, I'm gonna give you guys 3 things that I like about this disc, and then 3 things that aren't so impressive. I will say that the rim on all 3 of these is very similar. It's very similar in size and in feel. Cigarra definitely feels almost like a cicada or a pipeline, something like that, kind of width of rim. So a little bit more of a shelf, and I think that's where you're getting your stability, but it feels very close. You put them side by side, Teebird's got maybe just a slightly larger rim and a little bit taller shelf. I'm comparing this to maybe the old school Teebird that would flip up and kind of go straight. So just like my putter reviews, I'm gonna be doing 6 holes out here at Mead Olin, and I'm only gonna tee off with these 2 Teebirds, kind of separate runs, and the Cigarra. So first shot is hole 1 out here at Mead Olin. It's 466 feet, plays probably close to 5 because you have to kind of climb this hill in the later part of the flight. So yes, it is downhill, but your second shot is going to be all uphill depending on how far you get off the tee. I'm going to throw the old school Teebird first. Trying to throw these just flat, maybe a little hyzer, because I want to be on the right side a little. Woo! So that Teebird's actually pretty flippy. Let's try this one just a little bit flatter. That's kind of what I would expect probably out of a Cigarra. I'm not fully warmed up yet. This is a pump for a 7-speed for me throwing a 7-speed, but still should be able to get it kind of down in that bottom down there. If I can get it to this tree on the right, that's around 350, 360. That, I don't know if I'm warmed up because I got to throw 2 kind of test shots first. Let me know if you guys want me to like cycle these. So tee off first with the Cigarra on the next hole maybe. But that shot felt really good. Had a nice amount of pace to it, had a pretty clean release, and it actually fought out of that hyzer pretty decent. So the Cigarra actually surprised me with kind of how easy it was to throw. I think the first Teebird is a true Teebird. So it's like the old school, fairly flippy, and I put it on a little hyzer and it just burned because it's too flippy. Right now, Cigarra won the CTP on this hole, and we'll play it for an upshot, see if we can get a par out of this. In case you're wanting to know why that I didn't want to go too far left, there's kind of a little swampy area. There's the wind. So we had a little bit of like crosswind maybe on the first hole. Now we've got almost a straight headwind. So I want to say that probably helped this OG Teebird kind of flip over. Kind of a short shot for a Teebird, but I'm going to throw this kind of straight, see if we can get it to go straight. All right. Babied it just a little bit. Like I said, this would be probably a mid-range shot for me. Almost same spot. Finally, Cigarra. Put a little ante on this because it's a little straighter. Okay. So maybe I need to put a little ante on those to begin with. I am throwing both Teebirds pretty flat. Cigarra, I'm putting just a little bit more hyzer on. So the Teebirds probably just needed a little bit of hyzer. They're looking at kind of a long putt. Woo. And then Cigarra was pretty well parked. Hole number 2 kind of lines up a little bit for all 3 of these. Let's see how they do on it. So I'm gonna start out with a Cigarra on this hole and throw it as flat as I can and see if I can get a little hyzer out of it. It's not bad. It's actually in there for a putt. There's just enough stability on that disc that I need to put it on just slight hyzer unless I'm crushing it, throwing hard that day. Let's try the old Teebird on the same line. Slight hyzer. Got a little flip up. I mean, almost landed on top of the Cigarra. So, and that's counting on me to be that accurate, and I'm not AB. So now let's do Teebird. New run of Teebird, slight hyzer. It's a little lower and not as hard. Almost the same. If I had to hit it as hard as I did the first two, I'm pretty sure it would be right there parked with them. So those tee shots always sitting right at the 280 mark, something like that. I got about a 45 footer. So the first like on the Cigarra, I think is going to be the reliable fade. It actually has that like overstable mid type fade, so where you could use this almost as an approach disc if you wanted to throw it just a little harder than normal. Old school Teebird and Cigarra landed about the same place. I threw them about the same way, just a touch of hyzer. Could have probably gotten away with throwing them flat. Not throwing my best today whatsoever. Normally when I take a couple days off, my first day back is very lackluster, and this is my first day back, so have to bear with me. We got about a 50-foot putt here, 45. I'm gonna just toss it because I can't really putt it through that tree. It's kind of a little toss. So dislike number one with the Cigarra, and I guess it's really not a huge gripe, but I feel like they didn't invent anything just insanely new with this disc. Now, if you're a Discraft thrower or sponsored player and you want kind of a Teebird slot, this is gonna fit the bill 100%. Today's test, it's flew very similar to a Teebird. I would say it can handle just a slight bit more torque than a Teebird. I think it will stay in that hyzer just a little bit longer for your faster arm speeds. AB, those guys that throw super fast, this disc is gonna be a straight woods disc, probably above everything else. This is a crush. 435 feet, but it's all kind of downhill and then to the right. So if AB threw a Cigarra here, he would throw it forehand and let it just stay on hyzer. Forehand, probably like this. I'm gonna throw our new run of Teebird first. Flat to Annie, probably a little bit of hyzer. Don't watch that one. I'm working with my timing, and if I don't like hit my timing, it goes nowhere. Old run of Teebird, kind of the same way. Try to put a little bit on it. There we go. That's not bad for a 7-speed for me. Cigarra does have a 6 glide. I didn't notice that. So it probably is in that old school Teebird kind of area. Got a little bit of headwind, same angle. I'm exhausted today, just to be honest. I would throw probably a wave, something like that here. I'm not throwing my best. So the old school Teebird landed here. All three of these were bad throws. I'm not throwing very far today. On a great day, I feel like I could get all of these kind of past this rock, maybe in the 350 kind of range. I'm throwing really weak, really sore today. Not my best showing there. This is not gonna be my real shot, but I do wanna throw this on a forehand to show you guys how it goes. Noodle arm forehand goes. It actually forehands pretty good, especially for me who doesn't really have a strong forehand. Now, your guys that are throwing fast and have a faster arm speed, this disc is probably gonna flip up to flat and cruise straight for a while before fading out. But it held the line pretty good for me. Let's play the hole. See if we can get a 3, throwing kind of a spike hyzer with this Chief. Or a hyzer. That's up there in putt territory. Like I said, not throwing my best today. Like number 2, I can see your big arms throwing this disc dead straight up to probably 320, 380 through the woods with no effort. This is gonna be a very versatile disc for someone with a fast arm speed. And for your slower arm speeds, it's actually gonna be a good disc for windy days because it's just reliable enough on the fade. Still got a noodle arm 3 on it, but I'll take that. So after 3 holes, we're still shooting par. So far, the Cigarra has actually been closer off the tee for 2 out of those 3 holes. So this hole, I kind of noodle armed every shot. Wasn't a great representation of how any disc flew because I didn't throw it. So that happens sometimes. It's more times than I want it to happen. Dislike number 2, I feel like they could have done something cooler with the plastic. I know it's kind of a minor gripe, but this Z plastic, you can kind of get everything in it. That's fine, like do a run of Z, but I would have liked to seen first run been something cool, swirl, glow, something like that maybe. Minor gripe, but I feel like they could have done something better with the plastic. So now I'm gonna put this on a little touch of hyzer, try to get the push straight. 300 dead feet. 300 feet, kind of dead straight. I'm gonna try the Teebird same way. Cigarra just kind of bailed on me, but I just didn't get it up to speed. Got a little bit of tailwind, so that does change my feelings a little bit. Made it a little overstable. Still should be able to get there with any of these. Same spot. I'm just babying them. Babying all of them because of my shoulder. Let's try to pop this one good. There we go. I actually hit that one. This hole you can go a little bit long though with a fairway if you hit it too good. The score after 4 holes is actually tied between the Cigarra being closer to the basket and the old school Teebird. See if we can't make our first birdie of the round. Playing best shot off of the 3. I normally throw a mid-range here and just try to push it straight, and it gives me a little more confidence to throw it harder. So I think with the fairways, I was kind of throwing those just a touch reserved to keep from going too far. Though today I'm not throwing great. Probably could have thrown them full speed. Let's try to get a big birdie. Oh yeah, baby. Woo, that's a banger. About a 40-footer uphill. That was pretty sick. I'm playing a makeshift hole here. I actually call this the old man tee because there's a little bit of a hill to go to the next tee pad. This will give you guys kind of a full flight of all 3 discs anyway. That's actually great. Same spot. Both of those needed to be a lot higher. I don't know what I did on the first one. The very first one was almost perfect. If I could sink this putt, we would be 2 under through 4. Oh, you kidding me? That was right there, guys. Almost. And dislike number 3, and it's really a piggyback off of a like that I had earlier, but for a new player, I would recommend a cicada, as this is just a touch too overstable for some of your slower arm speeds. You're gonna have to put this on a slight hyzer to get it to kind of go straight. Now for a headwind, it's great, but the versatility for a new player, it's just not there. So I guess that's not necessarily a dislike, but more of just a recommendation. Man, that just needed to be like 8 feet higher and that would have been parked. Got a little bit of tailwind. I think if I can put this up higher, we'll get the fade. Nope. Oh, let's try the flippy one. That is closer. I actually ripped on that Cigarra this time, and seeing kind of what it would do at a higher speed, it actually flipped up almost a flat, pushed straight, and then had a little fade. On a good day, where I'm throwing consistent and fast, I think the Cigarra would be a great disc for that straight tunnel shot with power. It was about a tie ball game between this flippy Teebird and the Cigarra. Cigarra landed actually where I normally land. So I'm used to throwing Assassins. They're just a touch more understable. So they're like a TL3, Cicada, Undertaker. And like number 3 for the Cigarra is actually how nice it feels to forehand. It's actually just stable enough that I can give it a little pop on a forehand and get some pretty good distance out of it for kind of a noodle arm forehander. Has enough stability to kind of fight the torque of a forehand, and I kind of have a natural chop forehand to begin with. It actually corrected that just a little bit and flew relatively straight and still had a little dump at the end. Loving the Cigarra for that. So that's 3 things I like and 3 things I dislike about the new Anthony Barella Cigarra. Very much like a Teebird, but Discraft. If you're a Discraft thrower, you like their plastics, you're on the team, any of those things, this is gonna be a great woods disc for you. Especially if you're a higher arm speed, you're gonna be able to throw this disc very straight with a reliable slight fade at the end. If you guys are enjoying the channel, you like these disc reviews, here's a playlist of all the disc reviews I've done so far. Have a great day. Stay in the fairway, guys. Pick up a Cigarra, and if you do, Discin' Dat has them on sale right now. You can use my code EJDG10 to save 10% off. I'll have it linked in the description, guys.